Navy SEALs. If there's one name that's become synonymous with American Special Operations, it's this one, the Navy SEALs. SEAL stands for Sea, Air, and Land, and that name isn't just branding. It describes exactly what makes them unique. While plenty of Special Operations units can fight on land, the SEALs are built from the ground up as maritime warriors. They insert from submarines, they swim ashore in total darkness, and they can strike a target from the water before the enemy even knows they're there. Part of Naval Special Warfare Command, SEALs handle unconventional warfare, direct action raids, counterterrorism, and reconnaissance in environments most soldiers are never trained for. But before any of that, there's the gate everyone has to walk through, BUD/S, Basic Underwater Demolition/SEAL Training. It's widely considered one of the hardest military training pipelines on the planet, and the centerpiece of it is a 5.5-day gauntlet known as Hell Week. Trainees get maybe 4 hours of sleep total across the entire week, while running, swimming, and carrying boats through freezing surf until their bodies start shutting down. The vast majority of people who start BUD/S don't finish it. And within the SEALs themselves, there's an even more secretive layer. SEAL Team 6, officially known as DevGRU, the Naval Special Warfare Development Group. This is the Tier 1 unit that conducted the raid that killed Osama bin Laden in 2011. They specialize in the most sensitive, high-stakes missions the U.S. military runs. Delta Force. If the SEALs are the most publicly known unit, this next one is the most secretive. 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta, better known as Delta Force. Delta Force is the Army's premier counterterrorism and hostage rescue unit, and it operates under the umbrella of Joint Special Operations Command, or JSOC, the same command structure that oversees DevGRU. The two units are often spoken about in the same breath because they perform similar Tier 1 missions, just under different branches. What makes Delta different is the sheer level of secrecy around it. The Army doesn't officially confirm operational details about the unit. There's no public recruiting poster, no official acknowledgement of most of their missions. Delta was modeled directly after the British Special Air Service, the SAS, and it specializes in direct action, hostage rescue, special reconnaissance, and counterterrorism operations in some of the most dangerous environments on Earth. Getting in requires years of prior special operations experience just to be considered for selection. And the selection process itself is designed to break people down mentally as much as physically, testing land navigation, endurance, and decision-making under total exhaustion. Army Green Berets. Now here's where people often get confused, because Delta Force and the Green Berets are not the same thing, even though they're both Army. The Green Berets, officially Army Special Forces, operate under a completely different mission set. Where Delta is built for direct action and counterterrorism, the Green Berets are built around something more strategic: unconventional warfare and foreign internal defense. In plain terms, that means training and building up foreign militaries and resistance movements, often working for months or years alongside local forces in remote, unstable regions. Their motto says it all: de oppresso libere, to free the oppressed. It reflects a mission built on relationships, language skills, and cultural expertise as much as combat ability. Green Berets are typically fluent in a foreign language and regional culture relevant to where they operate, and many of history's most important covert military partnerships, training resistance fighters, standing up allied units from scratch, trace back to this unit. Army Rangers. Next up, the 75th Ranger Regiment, the Army's elite light infantry force. If Delta and the Green Berets operate in the shadows, the Rangers are built for speed and violence of action in the open. Their specialty is direct action raids, airfield seizures, and special reconnaissance. The kind of missions where a small, incredibly well-trained force needs to hit hard, fast, and be gone before the enemy can organize a response. Rangers were the tip of the spear in operations like the assault on Pointe du Hoc during D-Day, and their modern regiment carries that same reputation for speed and precision into today's conflicts. One thing that surprises a lot of people: Ranger School, one of the most physically and mentally demanding leadership courses in the entire U.S. military, isn't exclusive to Ranger Regiment soldiers. Troops from across the Army and even other branches can attend. But actually serving in the 75th Ranger Regiment itself requires its own separate, grueling assessment process on top of that. Marine Raiders. The Marine Corps has its own tier of special operators too, and they're a relatively new addition to this list. MARSOC, Marine Corps Forces Special Operations Command, and the operators within it known as Marine Raiders. MARSOC was only established in 2006, making it one of the youngest special operations commands in the U.S. military. But the name Raiders isn't new. It's a deliberate callback to the Marine Raiders of World War II, an elite amphibious strike force that conducted daring raids across the Pacific. Today's Marine Raiders carry on a similar mission: direct action, special reconnaissance, and foreign internal defense, all built on the Marine Corps' broader culture of aggressive, expeditionary warfighting. Getting into MARSOC requires already being a Marine, then passing an intense assessment and selection course, followed by an individual training pipeline that can take well over a year before an operator is fully qualified. Air Force Pararescuemen, PJs. Now we shift gears completely, because not every elite unit on this list is about direct combat. Some of them are about saving lives in the most extreme conditions imaginable. That's the entire mission of Air Force Pararescue, known as PJs. Their motto is simple and powerful: that others may live. PJs specialize in combat search and rescue, parachuting, diving, or fast roping in a hostile or remote territory to recover downed pilots and wounded personnel, often under fire, often in places no medevac helicopter could safely reach. To do that job, PJs are trained as elite combat operators and highly skilled paramedics simultaneously. Their training pipeline is famously one of the longest in all of special operations, covering combat diving, military freefall parachuting, mountaineering, and advanced trauma medicine. Because once they reach whoever they're rescuing, they need to be able to keep that person alive long enough to get them out. Air Force Special Tactics Combat Controllers. Sticking with the Air Force for one more, because this next unit rarely gets the recognition it deserves. Combat Control, part of Air Force Special Tactics. Combat controllers are the ones embedded directly with SEAL teams, Delta Force, Rangers, and Green Berets on the ground. But their job isn't direct assault. It's air. They're certified air traffic controllers who can establish an airfield in hostile territory from scratch, call in precision airstrikes in the middle of a firefight, and coordinate the entire airspace above a battlefield. Because of that dual skill set, elite ground combat training layered on top of extremely technical aviation certification, combat controllers are often described as among the most broadly trained operators in the entire U.S. military. Their selection pipeline is brutally long, and the washout rate is enormous because very few people can handle both halves of that job at an elite level. 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, the Night Stalkers. And finally, the unit that gets almost every other unit on this list to the fight in the first place, the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, known as the Night Stalkers. This is an Army aviation unit, but don't let the word aviation undersell it. The Night Stalkers fly some of the most dangerous missions in the entire military. Their specialty is flying special operations helicopters at extremely low altitude, in total darkness, often using night vision in weather conditions that would ground almost any other aircrew. Their unofficial motto says it all: Night Stalkers don't quit. It was Night Stalker helicopters that flew SEAL Team 6 into and out of the compound during the raid that killed Osama bin Laden, a mission that depended entirely on pilots who could fly with total precision at night, undetected, in a hostile territory. Without units like the 160th, nearly every other operation on this list simply wouldn't be possible. So that's 8 of America's most elite forces, from the underwater warfare of the SEALs, to the total secrecy of Delta Force, to the pilots flying blacked-out helicopters through mountain passes at 200 feet. What ties all of them together isn't just the training, it's the willingness to keep going long after most people would quit. If you want to see a deep dive into any one of these units, their selection process, their most famous missions, or how they actually compare head-to-head, Let me know in the comments which one you want covered next. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.